The story of the Philippines begins long before written history, almost 60,000 years ago, when the first humans arrived on the islands using simple rafts and boats. Over thousands of years, these early settlers formed small communities that slowly evolved into larger settlements and early states. By 4000 BC, new waves of Austronesian and Malayo-Polynesian people began reaching the islands, bringing with them language, skills, and culture that would shape the future Filipino identity. Archaeological discoveries show that as early as the Neolithic age, the islands had a jade culture, a sign of craftsmanship and trade. Around 1000 BC, the population had already formed 4 social structures: tribal groups, warrior societies, a petty elite class, and thriving harbor communities. Trade with India introduced metallurgy and new technologies, marking the beginning of the Philippines' connection with the larger Asian world. From 300 to 700 AD, island traders sailed across the seas, exchanging goods like glass, agate, and gold with kingdoms of India, Vietnam, and China. This era brought Hindu and Buddhist influences to the region. Artifacts such as ear ornaments found across the Philippines, Thailand, and Taiwan show how deeply these trade networks were connected. Indian influence began spreading across Southeast Asia around the 1st century AD, reaching the Philippines through trade and migration during the Pallava and Gupta empires. This contact gave birth to local kingdoms that reflected Indian traditions and culture. The earliest written record found in the country is the Laguna copper plate inscription, dated 900 AD. Written in Kawi script, it tells the story of Namwaran, a man whose debt was officially forgiven by the ruler of Tondo. The document shows advanced mathematics, trade systems, and a society influenced by Sanskrit and Hindu-Malay culture. By the end of the first millennium, the islands were dotted with maritime societies and independent city-states. These communities traded with great empires like Majapahit, Indonesia, Ming China, and Brunei. One of the most developed of these early states was Mai, centered in Mindoro, flourishing around 1225 AD. Chinese records described its people as honest traders, dealing in goods from Japan to the Ryukyu Islands. During the 1300s, much of what is now Indonesia was under the powerful Majapahit Empire, which also extended its influence over parts of Luzon and Sulu. However, after years of local resistance, the Battle of Manila in 1365 restored Luzon's independence, while Sulu also broke free from foreign rule. Then came a new wave of transformation: Islam. In 1380, a Muslim scholar named Makdum Karim arrived in Sulu, bringing Islam from Malacca. Later, Sharif-ul-Hashim, another Muslim missionary, founded the Sultanate of Sulu after converting the local ruler, Raja Baginda. By the 15th century, Islamic sultanates like Maguindanao rose in power, connecting the Philippines with the Muslim world. As Islam spread, trade and diplomacy tied the archipelago to kingdoms in Malaysia, Indonesia, and Arabia. When Brunei gained independence from Majapahit, it became a major Islamic power in the region, its influence soon reaching the Philippines. Then in 1521, everything changed. Ferdinand Magellan, a Portuguese explorer sailing under the Spanish flag, reached the islands during his voyage around the world. He landed on Homonhon Island, met local rulers like Raja Humabon, and introduced Christianity. However, Magellan was killed at the Battle of Mactan by the warrior Lapu-Lapu. Decades later, in 1543, Spanish explorers officially named the islands Las Islas Filipinas, in honor of Prince Philip of Spain. The Spanish returned for permanent colonization in 1565, led by Miguel López de Legazpi, who established the first settlement in Cebu, and later made Manila the capital of the Spanish East Indies. By 1578, conflicts between the Muslim sultanates and Christian Spaniards escalated, leading to the Castilian War. The battle involved not just Filipinos and Spaniards, but also warriors from Mexico, the Ottoman Empire, and Southeast Asia. The war ended without major territorial changes. Within 20 years of Spanish arrival, the Philippines had cathedrals, churches, and Christian communities spread across the islands. The Spanish introduced Christianity, European law, education, and founded the oldest modern university in Asia. For more than 300 years, the Philippines was governed under Spanish rule. first as part of the Viceroyalty of New Spain, Mexico, and later directly from Spain. But local revolts and resistance grew, and by 1898 the Spanish-American War ended Spain's rule. The Philippines then became a U.S. territory, and by 1907 Filipinos had their own elected assembly. The Jones Act promised eventual independence, and in 1935, the Philippine Commonwealth was established under Manuel L. Quezon. However, during World War II, Japan invaded the islands in 1942. The U.S. returned in 1945 to liberate them, and finally, on July 4, 1946, the Republic of the Philippines gained full independence with Manuel Roxas as its first president. Post-independence, the nation faced challenges: political tension, communist uprisings, and later, dictatorship under Ferdinand Marcos, 1965-1986. After his fall, Corazon Aquino became the first female president, marking the country's return to democracy. Since then, several leaders have governed the Philippines, guiding it through transformation, modernization, and the ongoing journey toward unity and progress.